Hi everyone, how's it going? My name is Luis, nickname Coruja or Coruja in Portuguese, the owl, the bird. So first of all, thanks everyone for tuning in. And this is my first video in English on my channel. So excuse my English, but I'll try my best here. And I'll just have a few words in Portuguese to explain people that are already subscribe to my channel that are Brazilian Portuguese speakers, whatever, to let them know why I'm doing this in English, okay? And then I'll explain you guys later. So, galera, tô fazendo em inglês porque tá dando muito movimento, muita reclamação dessas ondas da final do Filipe Toledo com o Julian Wilson. Então eu tô fazendo em inglês para atingir o público deles lá e para eles entenderem meu ponto de vista. Não que eu esteja certo ou errado, mas é isso. Para quem não fala inglês, coloca a legenda em português ou coloca aí nos comentários que eu faço um vídeo em português também. Valeu? Alright, so I just said that I'm doing this in English because I would like to have more people in Australia or in the US watching this video because I think it's been very loud, all the media and people are talking about the results of the final between Toledo and Julian Wilson at the Gold Coast a few days ago. So I will just put my impressions here and just let me introduce myself first. I am um, I am a former professional surfing judge, so I just stopped working with it a couple months ago. So I worked for WSL in Latin America for the Brazilian um, professional surfing conference and sorry, confederation. And I've been doing that for more than 10 years. And I've seen a lot from home and in local during the contest. Even when I wasn't a judge myself, I used to travel for watch the surfing contests live during my vacations. So I worked for a whole year, planning my vacations just to be there watching the contest. So trust me, I've seen a lot. And the first thing I want to point here is that there's a big difference between watching it live at the beach and watching from your computer or your TV screen. Uh, the perspective of things are very different. When you're at the beach, you can see the playing field, how large it is, and you can compare things much better than on the TV screen where the images are kind of just too close or I don't know. It just feels different. And a proof of that is we're gonna watch the four best waves of the final, but the best wave of the final, the Filipe's 907, it was shown just from one angle. There was no replay. There was no slow motion, as it was like three angles, slow motion, close, everything on Julian's 8.8. So that's something that's very weird, in my opinion. I don't know if the cameramans lost the wave, just one guy just recorded the Felipe's wave, but still they could have done like a slow motion thing or just close because it's not very close. And that's one thing that I feel it's kind of weird, but all right. So I'll start with the waves in order. The Felipe's 8.53, the barrel and the power gouge, and then just the end section, small turn. And then I'll go to Felipe's 907, and then I'll go to Julian's 88, and then finally Julian's 84. And then at the very end, I will compare Julian's 84 with Felipe's 833, the first wave of the heat from him, the full rotation air. Okay, so let's do this. I'll start. I'll press play here, so you can see Felipe. He takes off very deep and catches a nice barrel. It's a deep barrel. It's not the biggest of the waves, but still a hard barrel to ride. We're gonna watch it again. So you see here, he takes off the wave. He takes off behind the peak actually, because you can see like the wave here. It's taller here than where he takes off. He's taking off behind the peak here, so that's one thing. Not very important in this case because the wave is not very hollow like a deep the box wave or something like that, but still takes off behind the peak, and then there's a really high line pump here. It seems that he's not gonna even catch the barrel, lips almost touching him, but he managed to squeeze in just really deep here. Guy's gone, foam ball riding again, and then another section. Then he pedaled to the metal here to come off the barrel clean. That's one thing. And then here he has a downtime, but it's because of the waves not very steep where he is. There's like a bump between the two parts of the wave, so he manages to just lift the nose of his board and then jump this part of the wave, and then bottom turn here and attack the lip. See the amount of rail he's using on this turn. Look, the board is completely sideways to the camera. It's really like straightforward to the camera, and you barely can see the board. Like he's just burying the whole uh, rail. Yeah, Hughes rail, and it's a very powerful turn as well. See the amount of water that comes out, and then he still manages to extend the turn, drive through the turn, kick the tail out, and complete it just perfectly. And then the last turn is nothing. This is nothing on the criteria. No judges give him like 0.3 more for this last turn. It's just to make sure he finishes the wave. That's a beginning, the middle of the wave, and the end of the wave. So it's a complete wave, but the last turn didn't even count for him. So again here, see how deep he gets on the first part of the barrel, and then again another section comes out clean, and then here, look at this. I think there's only one. No, I don't think. I'm sure there's only one thing touching the water, and it's barely touching the water. This turn is made completely on the board's rail. That's really hard to do. That's like something very progressive, and I can see how like why the judges gave him a 8.53 on this wave, because that's a man's turn. So you see the tails. That's what we as judges we look for. That's a lot of commitment, and then the last turn is very small. Now we're gonna see Filipe's 907. All right. So Filipe's 907. It's a clean wave, very fast. Wow, huge power gouge, and then section just like very compromised and steep section. And when we're judging, or when I was judging, but I know how the judges mind work, and I personally know some judges that are working at this event, and uh, this is what they call progressiveness. This is so progressive. Like Felipe does a huge turn all the way, like drives on rail, like all the way back. It's not surfing forward, and it's a point break wave. So you're assuming risks when you're not trying to just keep on the wave space, just going forward with the wave. You're doing the opposite. You're just bringing your board all the way to the back, and this is risky. You can lose the whole wave, and still he managed to do that with speed, power, and flow, which is not the main criteria of the judging criteria, but it's one of them. The most important one is commitment and degree of difficulty, and that's what happens there. There's a lot of difficulty there. You can see like what guys like Leonardo Fioravanti said about this wave. There's no other surfer in the world that could do these two turns on a short space like that, so fluid, fast, powerful. So this is huge. This is huge. Quality over quantity. Okay, so we're gonna analyze this again. We only have this angle. So deep bottom turn attacks the wave. See the amplitude. See all the rail buried again. Look at the amount of water, but still, like, the most important thing is the area that he covered on this turn. Guy comes all the way down here. Look, he just did like a huge gouge all the way to the left, and then a little double pump, and here the wave gets steeper, close out section. He attacks it and forces the tail. You see there, the tail is just completely out. The wave is steep. There's a section, critical section. That's what the judges call. So free falls at the very end. Oof. That's, in my books, the best wave of the final. So by far, not by far, but in my books, it is. It's the best wave of the final. And I can see the 907. Judges through 9-3, then three nines and 192. So that's Filipe's waves. Okay. All right. So now we had Filipe's waves analyzed, and then we're gonna watch Julian's waves. Okay. So that's the 8.8. His best. Takes off under priority. Filipe lets him go. So big mistake from Toledo. That was a great wave. There's no doubt Julian caught the best waves of the heat, and I think it was like very close heat, but still in my books, Felipe won that one. Deep bottom turn, you cannot even see the guy there. Very deep bottom turn. First, let's watch it on normal speed first. Sorry, as we did on the other one. So big gouge all the way back, throws the fins, and then nose peak reverse. It's not an air, but it's a nose peak reverse. So again, takes off, it's fast, deep bottom turn. Here, it's a big turn. Again, rail engages really well, but here he uses a little bit of the flat part of the board, but I understand because he's just like in between rails. So he's using the heels rail, and then he's gonna transfer to the toes rail to do another bottom turn. It's normal, so no problem there. But still, it's a big turn. But still, he uses much less area than Felipe's turn. Felipe's turn was like maybe twice as big as this one in terms of wave area usage. So Felipe's turn was bigger, like bigger arc, the radius of the turn much bigger. This one's powerful, but kind of not bad at all. It's really great turn, but still it's tighter. It's not that long. And then the second turn, deep bottom turn again, attacks the lip, just pushes the tail. Board gets a little flat there, but assumes a risk and commitment, so it's there with the judging criteria, and then finishes off with a big turn. It's not an air; it's a nose peak reverse. The section of this turn is not that critical as Felipe's one. You see, there's the lips already falling. There's a little bit of foam there. It's not that steep, and He completes the turn on the soft part of the wave, uh, in the foam area there. It's all wide, so not that hard for those guys. I understand the judge that thought that this wave was better than Felipe's. I don't see that, but I can see, uh, I totally respect that opinion and everyone's opinion actually. But um, I can see that wave a little better than Felipe's, no problem. In my opinion, it wasn't. I think the comparison of the judges and the separation was okay, just less than zero point 0.3 difference. But looking here, um, one judge, one judge, no, actually, all judges gave Felipe not on that one. Uh, the American judge gave Felipe a 9.3 and gave Julian a 9. And then the other three judges in the middle, the Japanese, the Brazilian, and the Australian judge gave Felipe a 9, flat 9. And they gave Julian an 8.8. So they already had Felipe's wave to compare, and they watched the replay before giving them the scores. So they've watched the replay of Felipe's wave to compare, and then just put this wave of Julian's, and uh, all of them just compared them and felt that Felipe's wave was a pitch better. So 907 for 8.8. Okay, and I agree with them. And then we're gonna watch Julian's 8.4 right now. Bottom turns, just like okay turn, just forward. Those are like five okay turns, combination of okay maneuvers. There's no, there's not a huge maneuver on this wave, in my opinion. So the combination of the five turns gave him an 8.4, but there's no very progressive or too committed turns on this wave. You see this one? Just does a nice, re-entry there, like a steep section of the wave, but still the board is always pointing, um, forward. It's never turning all the way back. It's just pointing forward all the time because the wave is asking for that. The wave is faster than the other ones, so you see the angle of the board, okay, and then nice bottom turn, another turn like similar to that one. He uses a little bit of the bottom of the wave. The board of this one doesn't use the rail on both turns. The board's kind of flat, and the guy rips. Like, so happy to see Julian back. He's one of the best ever to step over a surfboard, and it's such a good character. I just love watching him, and I had the opportunity to chat with him couple years ago at J Bay. He was with his mother. We have like the same uh, date of birth, not the same year, of course, but we're both born on November 8th. I like him very much, and I can see like all the fire from his scorpion. He's very um, fiery when it comes to competition. And again, nice bottom turn. This is a short turn all the way back, but really tight arc, not using the area of the wave, just at the very top of the wave, but still a good turn. So like four good turns, four good, very good turns. And then the judges gave him an 8.4. I still feel like Felipe's barrel was harder to make, and that turn after the barrel was huge, like better than all those five turns. And the judges here, they scored 8.7, 8.6, 8.2, 8.4, and 8.2. Okay. So if we compare individual scores for Felipe's 8.53, the American judge gave him an 8.8 and Julian's an 8.7, almost the same. And then Japanese judge preferred Julian's wave. He gave Felipe an 8-5 and then gave Julian an 8-6. The Brazilian judge preferred Felipe's wave just for the slightest margin as well. 8-3 for Felipe, 8-2 for Julian. The Australian judge, he preferred Julian's wave for almost a point. He gave Felipe as an 8 and gave Julian 8-8. Okay. No, sorry. My bad. He gave Julian an 8-4. Okay. Felipe an 8, Julian an 8-4. All right. Almost half a point difference. And then the Spanish judge from the Basque country gave Felipe a 9 and then Julian an 8-2. So the Basque judge gave Felipe the win for the largest margin, 18.2 for Felipe, 16.9 for Julian. And the only judge that gave the win for Julian was the Australian judge. I don't know if it was Ben Lowe working there or another guy, but it doesn't matter. They're all great judges. That's not the point. He gave 17 points for Felipe and 17.2 for Julian. Okay, so that's it. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching this. I really would appreciate your opinions here. And if you could subscribe to the channel or leave comments asking for more videos in English, I would do that for sure. I would love to do that. And sorry for my English if I made more than 100 mistakes, but I'm doing my best here and it's good to practice. And that's it. I mean, it was a great final. I think it was the best final I've seen in the last maybe 5 or 6 years. Um, it was just so intense, and people on the beach, the crowds, everything was just so nice to watch. And the contest as a whole was really nice. I love Puerto Heads. I stayed there for 2 weeks back in 2003, and I love the place. Just my favorite wave at the Gold Coast. And yeah, let's go to Margaret River now. Watch the guys surfing bigger waves and using bigger boards, which is really nice as well. And again, I really appreciate your patience, your attention here. And if you like the video, please just click the like video button. Just if you liked, and that's it. All respect to my Aussie friends and American friends and everyone. And that's it. Thanks, and see you in the next time. Bye bye.